Hey, the show is in full bloom. Coming up next. Hi, I'm Alan Smith. Welcome to Garden Style, a show about fun and interesting ways to grow, cook, and design your world. Now, in today's show, it's all about flowers, their colors, their fragrance, and certainly their beauty, and how they add so much to our lives. In today's show, we're going to visit Tru Blooms in Chicago, an organization that's really maximizing their flower power. Then, pastry chef Frank Nietzsche of 1620 Savoy shows us how to make a tasty dessert with the fragrant lavender flower. And later on, Ruth Loiseau will create a fantastic tablescape using both rose petals and orchids. All of this floral fun awaits us right after the break. There's something about having lots of flowers around the house that I just love. And you know, each spring I look for the best performers for my garden. And every year, these Supertunias, well, they're just rocking. They do such a beautiful job in my garden. Now, there's several different ones you can choose from, but I always fall back on 5 of my favorite flavors, if you will. These plants are loaded with flower power, and each one of them brings something special to the table. The first of these is the award-winning Supertunia Royal Velvet. There's no question where it gets its name. The deep royal purple blooms will create a striking display for your sunny bed. The next on my list of top performers is Supertunia Vista Bubblegum. While most petunias tend to trail in the garden or act as spillers in containers, this little beauty has more of a mound or filler growth pattern. That, coupled with its bright pink petals, give this petunia a signature bubblegum look. It's desired by gardeners for all types of settings because of its drought tolerance. Now, a new variety that I love to use in the borders of my gardens is Supertunia Pretty Much Picasso. It has such an unusual look because the purple blooms are trimmed in lime green. It's truly the most artistic of all the petunia varieties. Now, another petunia that creates visual interest with its blooms is Supertunia Bordeaux. Its purple vein flowers, highlighted with deep plum burgundy, give your landscape a unique look. This plant remains drenched in blooms until the first hard frost. I like to mix it with Supertunia Royal Velvet. Now, number 5 on my list of Supertunias is the last one, but certainly not the least one. This one is called Raspberry Blast. What I love about it is the variation in color on each one of the blooms. Like the other Supertunias, it's bred for heat tolerance, so it's perfect for those warmer zones. And its pink blooms with those deep pink edges provide maximum impact for your containers or landscaping. Raspberry Blast is an amazing performer in containers, and what I'm doing here is I'm planting up some of these containers as singular sensations using one variety of a Supertunia, in this case Raspberry Blast, for dramatic results. Hey, if you're looking for an outstanding performer for your garden, look no further. Choose one of these 5 Supertunias. You'll get lots of flower power from them. You know, there's nothing quite like having fresh, beautiful flowers in your home. But arranging flowers doesn't have to be a daunting task. It's really quite simple. You just need the right tools. Now, I'm always looking for green alternatives. Sometimes I look to the past for inspiration. For instance, when I'm arranging flowers, a substitute for floral foam is a floral frog, and that's what these are. I've been collecting them over the years. They're actually just heavily weighted pieces, often made of metal or glass, that you can use to support flowers in an arrangement. As you can see, I have an array of them here. Some of them are lead cages like this where the stems will go through them. Others are just these spikes that you push the flower stem into to stabilize the stem of flowers. And some others are combining both, where you've got the cage here and the spikes inside. And then some of the most beautiful ones are these glass ones with just simple holes in them to help guide the stem and hold the stem. Now, if you want to use these frogs, you can pick them up. They're still made today. You can often find them in secondhand shops and also at yard sales. Now, what you want to do is you want to stabilize your frog with some floral clay. You could pick this up at a craft shop, and you just want to get a piece of this, apply it to the bottom, and then securely position that into a shallow dish, which is what I'm using here. Now it's just a matter of adding water. You can see this holds beautifully, and creating a gorgeous arrangement. Of course, the reason for using these frogs is that they're recyclable. You can use them over and over and over for decades. Give it a try. Okay, now let's take a look at Tru Blooms Chicago and how they're maximizing flowers there.
I'm Monty Hennigy, and I'm the CEO and owner of Tru Fragrance here in Chicago. We create, design, manufacture, and distribute customized fragrances throughout the U.S. and internationally as well. This past January, we challenged our team to come up with something new, something completely different, something with a backstory, something innovative, something that had never been done before. And the team came back to me with an idea to create an eco-friendly, urban-based garden where we would plant and harvest indigenally based flowers, namely flowers that can be grown here in Chicago, and then we would harvest those flowers and the essential oils from those flowers, and we would create a fragrance that would be sold right here in the Chicagoland area. Tru Blooms is first of its kind, where fragrance ingredients, namely the flowers, have been grown in the same locale where the fragrance will be sold. Well, right now we're standing in Grant Park, very close to Lake Michigan. It's a high tourist area. I think we're up to 26 different locations around the city. So we are all over Chicagoland. We've chosen violet, which is the state flower of Illinois. We've chosen rose, and we've also chosen lavender. Those flowers were chosen for a number of reasons, not the least of which that they grow and thrive in our Chicago climate, which is something we Chicagoans love. We're very proud to have over 100 folks working with us. These are folks that come from an organization called Growing Power, and they've been wonderful partners. The Tru Blooms is a wonderful fragrance that will have the flavor of Chicago's lakefront and the flavor of Chicago embedded into it.
There's no denying that roses are beautiful. They're perfect for doing a centerpiece. But hey, what about just using the petals? Come here, let me show you what I mean. Goodness, Ruth, this is fantastic. Look at all of these rose petals. They actually are real.
They are real, and they're all glued on.
Glued. I've never seen rose petals used like this before. It's extraordinary. I mean, the first thing you have to ask yourself, well, is it real? And then how do you attach? You said with glue. What kind of glue?
Spray glue.
Spray glue.
Yes.
All right. And how long would you expect these petals to last?
I need them to last 2 days.
You need
I need them to last 2 days,
right.
And every morning when I come in, I'll just throw more on top, so at least it will look fresh.
I see. So you'll sort of bury the dead, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Well, and this is a part of a fundraiser, isn't it, where people are coming to have a look at these beautiful table settings.
Right.
Well, yours is just beautiful.
Oh,
now, I see the presidential seal here, and I understand your background is floral design, and you've actually done some work in the White House.
I have.
Yeah, so tell me about this. Would this be set for a state dinner or a state dinner in the Rose Garden?
Wouldn't that be? It should be.
Well, it should be, I think.
Right. It would be. The menus are actual White House dinner menus.
I see.
Probably back from the Reagan administration, right in there.
Right.
And also the name tags came from that administration.
I see. So let's go back to what you've done here. So you've taken an overlay, a white overlay.
An actual tablecloth.
Oh, so it's an actual
It's an actual tablecloth.
Okay. So you've just taken, it could be any kind of linen tablecloth, and then you just apply the rose petals. And then I see in the center here you have this froth of these gorgeous orchids spilling out of these candelabras. And you're adding a few more stems.
Right, there's just kind of I see a hole here maybe.
I see you're going to fill in there, right? And so you're just going to...
And then I put it in, right, with the foam in it.
That's a very good idea. So there's enough space where that fifth candle, the top candle, would have gone in for you to work these stems into that. Do you use any sort of floral foam or anything? Just a little bit.
Right.
Just to give
and
it...
tall, so that I can get that drape.
I see. No, it looks fantastic. Well, I mean, what you were trying to create is a very formal, well, state dinner setting.
Right.
Yeah. How marvelous. And I love the way that you have taken one of the candelabra and slightly elevated it. And I guess you could use just about anything for elevating one because you've covered that with the rose petals as well.
Covered everything with the rose petals, right. It's just a block of wood.
Yeah, and just covered with cloth.
Same thing.
Yeah, I see. Very good. Imagine. Well, and so, you know, since rose petals are actually edible, I guess for dessert one could eat the tablecloth.
There's so many uses.
Absolutely. It is really extraordinary. Well, congratulations.
Thank you, Alan.
Stay with us. We're headed into the kitchen just after the break. Frank, I'm crazy about the way you create these marvelous confections with pastry, and this sounds like a really fun idea.
Honey lavender apple dumplings.
Yeah.
Well, what I have is I have 4 apples and puff pastry, and I've rolled the puff pastry out to about an 8x8 square.
Mm-hmm.
And what
you
we're
can
going
just buy this at the store.
You can buy this at the store.
Yep, and you've just rolled it out with a little flour here on the counter.
The scrap pieces I use, and we're going to make leaves with these for decoration.
The apples have to have leaves,
yes,
don't they?
Definitely. And we're going to start with 2 ounces of unsalted butter.
Yep, and it's soft, nice and soft, room temperature. And then 2 ounces of your lavender honey.
Lavender honey, yeah.
So you just boiled the honey with some lavender buds, dried buds, yeah?
2 tablespoons.
And what'd you do, just strain the honey afterwards?
Yes, I did. The honey gets real liquid after it boils, and it's strained real easy through the strainer.
We have 2 ounces of brown sugar
2
here.
ounces of brown sugar.
Right. Of light brown sugar. Now then, what I'm going to do is mix all this together, and then we've got just a little bit more to add over here on this side. Yeah. I see you're using a Granny Smith.
What we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom off just a little bit with a melon baller. If you go too deep, then what happens is the filling's going to pour out the bottom and it's going to ruin your pastry. So we're going to take the apple core and we're just going to press it about 3/4 of the way through.
Okay.
And round it out.
Okay.
Then we're going to go back to the melon baller and we are going to melon ball until we get to the seeds, and we're going to just carefully get the seeds out. Mm-hmm. And if I can get this last seed out, we'll be good as gold. You
peel the apples. Look at those long strands of apple. That's so much fun. Look at this.
We're going to try to do it in 30 seconds.
The guy's a master. Well, I think our yummy, gooey stuff that goes in the center is looking pretty good
beautiful.
Here. Thank you.
So we have a 1/4 teaspoon of salt.
Yep. I'm going to add that now.
And about a teaspoon of lavender buds.
Yeah, look at those lavender buds. They're dried, and even though they're dried, well, because they're dried, they're very aromatic because you have that concentrated essential oil of lavender in there.
Yes.
Sprinkle those in. You know, I love cooking with flowers. They add so much aroma, and lavender's like the top as far as I'm concerned. It's the best.
It has become very popular in pastry lately. We're just going to take a little bit of that, and we're going to just work it into the center of the apple that we've prepared.
Yeah.
Try to get it all the way in. It'll start to sink.
Yeah. You want to make sure it's packed full.
Packed full. And put them in the center of the puff pastry. I have 1 egg with 2 tablespoons of water, made an egg wash.
Okay.
And we're just going to egg wash the sides.
Ah, putting down the glue.
Yes.
Here we go. Nature's glue.
Okay. And then we're going to carefully fold this over.
Now this is the tricky part here because you don't want to leave any open seams because you're going to get leakage.
Well, we're going to actually vent these. So we're just going to fold these over, glue them up nice. Mm-hmm. We bring it right over the top.
Look at that. You've done this before.
Maybe once.
Yeah. Okay, and look, you gently sort of pulled it all there together.
So pull it all together, then we're going to egg wash the rest of it.
Ah, bathe it in egg.
And what this is going to do is this is going to create a nice golden texture. Mm-hmm. So we're going to take a little sugar. Mm-hmm. We're going to put this all over.
Look at you. You're out of control.
And we're going to candy this up in the oven.
Candy it up in the oven.
Yeah. So we're going to vent this.
Here goes the venting.
We're going to vent it
there.
in 4 places.
4 places, right. You want to vent them right at the top.
Right at the top.
Yep. Because again, you want to keep this sealed around the base so it doesn't leak out over your pan.
We're going to take the egg wash on these scraps that we kept.
Never throw anything away. It all comes into play at some point, doesn't it?
Now, if you're real careful, we can get this to look like a leaf. You egg wash it first.
Look at you.
And then we're just going to place this knife and just barely cut into it. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3.
Frank, you obviously love gardens. You're paying close attention to the anatomy of a leaf. They're very convincing.
In between the vents.
In between the vents, right.
Just don't cover the vent. We're going to put 3 leaves on. This one is done.
It's finished. So you wouldn't put any more sprinkles on the leaves?
You could.
You could, okay.
Just to shine them up a little bit.
Let's just do it and say we did it.
You can never have too much sugar.
Oh, I love that.
And we're going to put it on our sheet pan.
Now tell me about the sheet pan. This is very interesting.
Okay, this is a sill pad, and it's basically a rubberized pad. You can use parchment paper. Nothing will stick to this.
And there we go there. So they're ready to go in the oven, right?
Yes.
So you have a preheated oven. What's the temperature?
350 degrees.
350 degrees. And how long did you cook them to get this effect here? Let's bring them over here so everybody can see them.
To get them like this,
gorgeous.
350 degrees, 30 to 40 minutes. The filling will start to come out and it'll bubble through the vents.
Right.
And the apples will get soft. Just a side of ice cream and maybe a little bit of caramel.
Beautiful. Frank, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Creative and delicious.
Thank you.
There's more garden style just after the break. I wish you could smell these lilies. They are so fragrant. It's just marvelous how flowers can add so much beauty and joy to our lives. And I hope in today's show that you picked up some ideas that help you integrate flowers as you grow, cook, and design your world. Now, if you put some of these floral projects together, I'd love to hear about them. Post the pictures on my Facebook page and tell me how they worked out for you. For Garden Style, I'm Alan Smith.